Hi, it's Mining44 here, and today I invite you to a short review of EON upgrade parts from Gate. Today we'll take a look at the protected cylinder head, power hybrid piston head, high speed piston head, and the EON Tappet plate. The pneumatic parts comes to us in a simple blister, on the back of which we can find all the most important information about the part. And the Tappet plate comes in a foil with a cardboard containing information. The first part we'll look at is the protector cylinder head. The head is made of aluminium with CNC technology, which ensures high precision, and indeed the quality of the workmanship is at very high level. The head has two sealing O-rings and a factory installed rather hard bumper which will work in most cases. However, if you would like to use the cylinder head in a very high powered replica, or if you're afraid of standard gearbox breaking, you can replace the standard bumper with a grey one you get in the kit. It is much softer and should resist the loads acting on the shell in very powerful replicas. It is not recommended only in replicas with a very high rate of fire. The cylinder head of course works with all standard cylinders. I put it myself on a aluminium Piston arm cylinder, a steel rivet Piston arm cylinder, and even some old ordinary brass cylinder, in which the head sat very snugly and ensured grey seal. Pardon my not very precise measuring method, but the nozzle guide is about 18 mm long and 5.37 mm in diameter. Gate itself recommends using a nozzle with inside diameter of 5.40 mm and boasts tight hole tolerances between the nozzle guide and nozzle. I decided to check it out. I mounted the cylinder head along with the cylinder and a gearbox and put a spacer on the guide to simulate a fully extended nozzle. Of course, I don't have all the available nozzles on the market, but I tested a few. Brass Airsoft Engineering nozzle with O-ring, pretty good fit, not much play. Adjustable nozzle max model, very large play. SHS polymer nozzle with O-ring, slight play. Piston Arms aluminium nozzle with O-ring, best fit, virtually zero play. Piston Arms core polymer nozzle without O-ring, not much play. G&G polymer nozzle without O-ring, also not much play. E&L polymer nozzle with O-ring, medium play. As you have seen, apart from the adjustable max model nozzle, the rest of the nozzles, even those without O-ring, sat quite snugly, and I don't think any of them could cause so-called mid-cap syndrome. The next part we'll look at is the high-speed piston head. Along with the head, we get a second shorter screw. Piston head is made in CNC technology from POM material, which ensures low weight and high strength, and is recommended for high-speed replicas with emphasis on DSG builds. Piston head is flat and has 10 large vents. On the head you'll find two O-rings. The front one is much smaller and is used to guide the head in the cylinder. The second larger O-ring is responsible for the seal during operation. Looking further, we come across the AOE washer, and to it we will return in a moment. Piston head of course have a bearing. According to my measurements, the complete piston head weighs about 8.53 grams, of which the head itself is 2.92 grams. And head with the AOE washer weighs 3.57 grams. But what's the point of the AOE washer? It is about 2 mm thick and it's used to move the piston slightly backwards to improve the AOE, that is, angle of engagement. Let me illustrate what exactly it's about. It's about the moment of engagement between the first tooth on the piston and the sector gear. In the example shown, we have a system without the washer installed, and as you can see, when the first tooth on the sector gear meets the tooth on the piston, the contact area is very small and a large area of both tooths do not contact with each other, and thus, in the first moments of contact, the entire force of the system is concentrated on a small area and can cause damage to the teeth. Let's see what happens when we install the washer. In this case, the piston is immediately moved by this about 2 mm back. This is enough so that at the moment of meshing the contact surfaces of the teeth is much larger and thus the load is much smaller, and this reduces the chance of damaging the teeth. Before installing the shim, of course, you should check whether it's needed in the case of your replica. It is time for the power hybrid piston head. The piston head comes with a shorter mounting screw and 5 rubber washers. Piston head is made of aluminum using CNC technology and has exactly the same design as the high-speed piston head, so it has the same smaller guide O-ring and a larger sealing O-ring, AOE washer and bearing. This piston head, however, is recommended for powerful replicas, especially DMR builds, due to its adjustable weight. Inside the piston head you will find 6 steel washers, thanks to which you can adjust the weight of the piston head and thus the power of the replica, but we will test this in a moment. So the whole piston head with weights about 11.37 grams, the empty piston head alone is 5.26 grams, and with weights it's 9.19 grams, or about 3.93 grams difference. Each washer is about 0.63 grams, and 6 of them are 3.93 grams, so it's all odds up. So what are the rubber washers for? If you take out the metal washers to adjust the weight of the piston head, you put the rubber washers in the place so the washers don't fly loosely inside. The weight of one is only about 0.16 grams. Okay, but does actually adding weight to the piston head give an increase in power? Yes, but the gain will be visible primarily when using heavier BBs, and the effect itself can be varied depending on the amount of air in the system and the length of the barrel. I decided to carry out a simple test in my ICS Mars 2, in which a zero-type cylinder and 375mm barrel are installed. First an empty piston head and then full of washers. I performed the test with 3 weights of BBs, 0.36 gram, 0.40 gram and 0.43 gram. For 0.36 gram BBs, the difference between empty and full piston head is about 0.08 joules. For 0.40 gram BBs, the difference was curiously 0.07 joules, and for 0.33 gram BBs, it reached about 0.10 joules. As you can see in my case, the difference was max 0.10 joules for the heaviest BBs I tested. Of course, as I mentioned, there are a lot of things contributing to this result, and in your case the difference may be bigger or smaller. But the piston head works at the advanced size, and adding weight to it may be useful if you want to make a replica under the limit and you're a little short of it, or if the replica is slightly over the limit. The last part we'll look at today is the EON Tappet plate. It is made just like the high-speed piston head in CNC technology from PAM materials, and as you can see, it is quite flexible. The corner of the forehead is beveled so that the trim rests only with the forehead against the shell, and not, as in some cases, with a corner in the shell. The fin is appropriately shaped and in addition has a mark where it should be cut for DSG builds. The grip for the nozzle is located in the middle of the front of the trim, and I took the liberty of testing several nozzles. All of them sat correctly, none of them had to push forcibly, and none of them fell out by themselves. These are the facts about the parts, so what do I think of them? The parts themselves are made really carefully and with high quality materials. They have a very simple but effective design. I like the piston heads have a lot of seizable vents, and that the kit comes with a AOE washer with which you can easily improve the replica's operation culture if required. While in the power hybrid head I understand the use of guide O-ring, thanks to which the aluminum head will not scratch the cylinder, I do not see its sense in the PAM high-speed head, and I would be afraid that at very fast cycles it will be damaged and fall into the cylinder, which I unfortunately have already seen once in an example of another manufacturer's piston having such a guiding O-ring. I will say frankly that I expected a bigger difference in the results between empty and full power hybrid piston head. It seems to me that despite the weightening, the piston head is still too light to make a big difference with very heavy BBs, and I conclude this from the fact that my ICS with a stock Master Mod head on 0.33 gram BBs pulled about 0.12 joules better than the full Gate piston head. This is probably due to the fact that the Master Mod piston head is much bigger and heavier than the power hybrid from Gate, but unlike Gate, I cannot reduce its weight, so I leave it up to you to decide what's better. The protector cylinder head does its job just fine. It seals very well on the cylinder, and the dimensions of the nozzle guide ensures a good performance with most nozzles I tested. I like that there's a second softer bumper in the kit to choose from, and the only thing I think you might want to consider is an additional bumper on the face of the head like it's on the Master Mods or Max model. As for the tappet plate, I like the beveled corner at the front of the tappet. I had to grind that place in standard Tappet plates to nicely reach the front of the gearbox. Here it is in the standard. Also nice is the idea with the marketplace of cutting under the DSG on the fin. Admittedly, I heard different opinions about the best length of the fin under the DSG, so opinions may vary. Nevertheless, it's a good starting point for further shortening of the fin if its need arose. That will be all for today. Let me know what do you think of the EON upgrade parts from Gate, and if you have installed them, how they work for you. And for now, thanks for watching and see you next time.